Okay, we are live. Welcome back to the last SPFBO or SPFBO live panel chat for this weekend. Don't worry, there's more coming next weekend. But for this weekend, we've got a full house from the authors who are going to be part of Lynn's books and the Critiquing Chemist blog. We had one panel full of authors that you've already met if you've been watching these. If you missed them, you can catch those in the SPFBO live chat playlist on my YouTube channel. But whole new group of authors, whole new group of books. Thank you all so much for being here. It's so exciting to see you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So why don't you guys tell me, Arcade, you want to start us off? We can just sort of go around. Just tell me a little bit about yourself, how many times you've done SPFBO, and a little bit about the kind of fantasy you write.
Sure. Yeah. So I am R.K. Ashwick. This is my first time doing SPFBO. And I am a cozy fantasy romance author. So I know a lot of people were saying last year was the year of cozy fantasy. I'm like, okay, hoping maybe this year is also the year of cozy fantasy. I don't know. So we'll see if I missed my boat. But yeah, the book that I submitted for SPFBO this year is Arrival Most Vile. Of course, you can't see it because of my green screen. That's fine. It is about love between rival potion shops.
Nice. Oh,
wait,
you're
you're
muted.
My mic muted itself. I've got to say congrats on the success that you are getting on that book on Amazon. It's very inspiring as an indie author just to see
thank you.
that orange tag. When I pulled up your book, I was like, oh,
wait, is it really?
Orange tag.
Wait, I haven't seen the orange tag. What are you talking about? Okay, I'll go look that up.
Well, congratulations on the orange tag.
Thank you.
You need to go screenshot that.
Right?
Now I'm scrambling. I'm like, how do I get to Amazon? If you're watching and you're like, oh, I want to see the orange tag, the links to everybody's books are in the description. I've got to get it up. But yeah, I love the cover too, by the way. Very creative. And it took me a second to be like, oh, that's a really clever name. And then I was like, oh, awesome. So yeah, James, welcome. So good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So
I'm about your SPFBO book.
Yeah, I'm James Lloyd Doolin. My book is No Heart for a Thief. It's my first book. It's my debut book. It came out on January 24th, so it's been out a few months now. Obviously, that means this is my first SPFBO. I'm really enjoying it so far. This series is, I would say, a dark coming-of-age fantasy. You could probably also describe it as like a literary fantasy. It's really focused on two main characters, and I don't know. I really enjoy the story, and I think I've been connecting with a lot of writers, and so it's been great. Writers and readers, and so it's been a great process. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm serious. So happy to be able to meet you guys and so many other authors. It's been really exciting. Bethany, welcome aboard. Hi. I love the fairy lights.
I'm Bethany. I write under BSH Garcia. The book that I entered is Of Thieves and Shadows, and it is my first book, just came out on the 1st. And so my first time in the competition as well. So a lot of new things happening at once over the last few weeks, which has been fun. But it's an epic fantasy that tracks 6 POV characters kind of at a big culmination point in the world's history with a resource under threat. So
nice. Felix.
Just wasn't sure if I was next.
Yeah.
I am a epic fantasy, adventure fantasy writer. This is my first SPFBO too. So
yay, epic fantasy writers unite.
Yes. Yeah, I wrote Crown of Rebellion for this one. Yes. Debut novel too.
Yes. Very excited though. I'm serious. I went through it. I was like, oh, so many good writers, so many good books. My TBR list is crying, and yours is one of the ones on it. Just like, yeah. And Michelle, You've gone the distance to be on this live with us. Thank you so much.
Literally, yes. You can still hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So my book is my debut. It's gonna be out since September of last year, so it's been out for a little while. And this is my first competition. And it's kind of a classical fantasy, but I've had a lot of people say that it's got a little bit of a twist because it's very character driven versus plot driven. So really the highlight is the 6 POV characters that we have. But there's a lot of like generational differences. So you got older people, and then the main cast is actually teens, but I wouldn't call it a coming of age really, because it has so many different characters that are driving the story. But I don't have it with me, sorry.
No, it's okay. We don't expect you to have it. You're fighting trains and everything to be on, so we're.
I know, Southeast Texas.
You don't drive with a copy of your book?
Actually, I had one today, but I signed it and gave it away.
Nice.
So,
Just in case you're ever pulled over for any reason, it's like, hey, have you seen my book? Oh, yes. And I'm sort of the imposter. I am hosting, but I'm not part of Lynn's books in the Critiquing Chemist blog. I'm in the Fantasy Book Critics blog this year. This is my first year too. So a whole 6-person panel of newbies here. What was your experience like getting involved in SPFBO for the first time? Because I know it closed really fast in under an hour.
Yeah, I submitted in like the first 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, I'm sure, like I'll check back later today. And then I checked back 2 hours later, and they were like, yeah, it's already closed.
Oh.
That was crazy.
I was looking at it, and I saw last year that they had closed in, I think, 9 hours. So I was thinking, okay, it's probably going to close pretty fast. So I woke up. It was 4 a.m. for me. I set an alarm, and I woke up to get it in right as soon as in the first 5 minutes, too, yeah.
Yeah, that was me. It was 7 a.m., so I was not quite as early as the others, but it's been a whirlwind, that's for sure. They don't call it Chaos Month for nothing.
Yeah, you weren't expecting to be thrown into all of everything if you were like me. I don't know. I just looked at it and thought, oh, it's a contest, right? I'm gonna put my book in, and then 5 months from now they're gonna tell me that so and so won, and it may or may not be my book. And then the rest of that day, I was like, this is like a book launch. I wish I had taken that day off work because it was so much that day. But Bethany, James, what was your experience with submitting?
Go for it.
So I'd found out about it, but I wasn't going to enter because my original release date was June 5th. And I was laying in bed that night, and I woke up at 4 a.m, which was an hour before it was going to go live. And I was just like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to just change my release date and enter. Why not? And as I'm kind of like gathering everything, my baby wakes up. So I'm juggling her in one arm, and I'm grabbing my laptop, logging in, and then it says like there's 5% battery left on my laptop. So it was kind of really stressful. I was like breastfeeding in one hand and trying to keep my laptop alive in the other, but I got it submitted. So
wow,
that is some dedication, moving your entire release date to make it.
Yeah.
But so far it's been worth it. I've connected with just so many authors in the last 2 weeks alone, and really grown my whole writing community circle. So that's been a really neat experience.
We should have stopped with you because that's a much more interesting story. I had been planning on joining SPFBO since I decided to go self-published. It was really something that it was one of those big goals for me, was just to be a part of this. And so I was on right away, and I think I got done with it at 8:02 a.m. So I was right away.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow. That's really, so there's been so many different experiences for everything. I was sharing before we went live that I've had people on panels saying that they had to pull over on the side of the road on their way to work to submit it in. Somebody else said they couldn't get it to work, so their partner submitted it for them remote, and they had all their stuff ready and their partner just plugged it in. I was like, whew. Somebody else was at a party on a panel earlier today and stepped away from the party. Wow. I was like, yes, because the party only lasts an hour. SPFBO's going to last the next several months. So just go ahead and get set up. But yeah, really, I wish that I had known to take some time for the fallout after. Fallout in a good way. I don't know. What's the positive version of Fallout? What was coming after? Especially if you're on Twitter. It was just delightfully chaotic in every way. Oh, so yeah, so we're all here. We've all got slightly different books, but the blogs have this really unique way of going through them. It looks like a lot of blogs have teams that are reviewing books. How do you feel about the blog that you're in, the books that are in with you? Have you taken any time to like look at Lynn's books and critiquing Chemist, or are you just waiting and hoping for the best?
I was pretty terrified upon realizing that it was the critiquing chemist was reviewing my rival potion shop's book, because I was like, this could go one of two ways. She could be like, oh, potions, chemistry, cool. Or she could get really pedantic and be like, that isn't right, that isn't right, that isn't right, done. And so I was like, I don't know how to feel about this. And I still don't know how to feel about it.
So
no pressure.
A lot of blogs have been like releasing, this is who I'm talking about next, this is who I'm reviewing next, and giving a lot of information. I haven't seen anything come from Lynn or the Critiques Chemist, and I'm okay with that. Like I've tried to engage with the authors and get involved in all of that and take every opportunity I can along with SPFBO, but for the competition, I'm much more comfortable setting and forgetting it. Like, I don't want to know when my book is being read. I don't want to know anything about it. If somebody, DMs me on Twitter and says, hey, you got a review, like, that's how I want to find out. I don't want to be looking at Mark's website or anything. I just want it to kind of come to me. And until then, I'm going to try to not think about it.
Yeah.
I think it's Fantasy Faction that's doing that's the most vocal, right? Or is it the other group?
Bookborn, like okay. It's a bunch of YouTubers and they all have done their TBR videos and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, terrifying. Don't need it.
I love watching them though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not in either of those vlogs, but I'm watching the vloggers. Like, like what is on your TBR?
I think at first I was kind of bummed that I was in one where it's just been, crickets out there. And for a while I was kind of obsessively like checking and refreshing both of their blogs to see if they were going to post anything. But like James said, I think now I'm actually kind of happy that it's just kind of out of sight, out of mind. And I don't have to like stress about like a countdown as they're like, oh, your book's up next. So you just panic for like 24 hours straight, So I think there's a lot of excellent books in my group. I already started reading one. So I think it's just been fun to kind of get to know other people and add a whole bunch of books to my towering TBR that I'll never get through before I die.
I was a little nervous to see that they weren't saying anything, but I agree now that we're done, or now that we're into it and seeing how all the other blogs keep making people stress out. I'm fine not to stress out. I'm happy to just sit here and wait for the results.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great we're all in that same boat, because I love Out of Sight, Out of Mind. But I will say I have gone through the list a little bit, and there's a few of my friends that are also, but they're not in our group, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness, because there's no way. I will say that, and there's so many books to be read. I think, especially when you're writing too, it's impossible. But
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm not in your blog, but in my blog, one of the authors that I gave a 5-star review to earlier this year, that book is in this blog, which I didn't know was going to happen. And I was like, I don't give out a lot of 5-star reviews easily. I'm a Readsy Discovery reviewer. And I was like, oh gosh, my book's up against, like, my debut novel is up against this person's book. So it was very, I don't know. On one hand, I'm excited because I'm like, okay, even if I go out in the first round, I'm going out with some of the best authors and a great community, and that's made it all worth doing. But it's also sort of nerve-wracking to be like, oh, how am I gonna fare here? But yeah. So speaking about books, all of the panels, we've been doing sort of this fun Easter egg type question. So if you've missed these and you want to go back and watch the panels, you can catch them. But we've talked about pets and weather and food and holidays and main characters' fears and the villains' fears and just all these things across the 10 plus panels we've done at this point. But you guys have a question about main characters, and that's going to be, what did your main character want to be? What was their sort of dream end goal, career, or whatever it was, before you threw them kicking and screaming into whatever adventure awaited them? And does that dream impact their story? You don't have to give us spoilers on how it ends up or anything. Just
for Rival Most Vile, so there's two POVs, but I'll talk about Ambrose, which is the first POV. He already has his dream job. He sells potions. He's a certified potion master, and that's precisely what he wants to do. And he wants to do it specifically alone for the rest of his life. And he's dragged kicking and screaming into a rivalry when Eli opens a potion shop right across the street. And so no spoilers, but maybe he gets to still be a potion master, and maybe it's not as alone as he thought it would be.
That sounds so
That's
cozy.
great.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I love that.
Thanks.
I love
Me
cozy
too.
fantasy. I mean, I also love really dark, grimdark fantasy, but I do love a good cozy fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a palate cleanser.
Yes. Who wants to go next?
I can shoot for it. So
Go, James, take it away.
my two main POV characters are Tayan and Kalo. Kalo, it starts early on for him in his life. His homeland is colonized at the age of 7, and so he doesn't have a whole lot of time to dream about things before things get to start to be pretty bad for him. I would say he probably at that age would want to be like his father. His father's a craftsman, works with wood, and throughout the novel, even as he's aging, it's always something that kind of puts Kalo back in touch with himself, is to work with wood. So lots of carving and whittling going on. And then Tayan, she grew up kind of running and hiding from this colonized empire. And so she didn't have really much time to dream about anything else. So it was just kind of like she wanted to be with her family, and things get in the way of that.
Yeah, that's great. Great first start. And I love that their dream career is very hands-on and crafty.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of fantasy books I've been picking up lately, and not that this is a bad thing at all, but it's like, I want to be a villain, or not a villain. I want to be a warrior. Or, yes. Okay. I want, who said their character wanted to be a villain? I want to read your book. Anyway, no, I wanted to be, a warrior. I want to be the best this, the best that. So it's nice to hear sort of a simpler, like down to earth. I just want to do this job. That's what I want to be. Normal person. Bethany, how about you?
So I guess the main of my 6 POVs is Alasia. And at the start of her story, it basically opens up with her induction day of her becoming her nation's high chieftain. And it's something she absolutely does not want. She would be much happier living a quiet life. She wasn't supposed to originally be stepping into this role until some tragedy befell her. So at that point, she wants to disappear and is kind of thrust into it. And so a lot of her growth and arc throughout the story is kind of her going back and forth between what she should do and what she wants to do. And won't she embrace her role as a leader?
Reluctant leader. It's a good trope.
Also 6 POVs for both Michelle and Bethany. Bananas. I'm so impressed.
12 main characters.
I'll blame you.
So do you guys have like org charts hung up on your walls with like Post-its?
Not me. Mine is it's kind of divided into like A cast, B cast, and C cast. So it makes it a lot easier. And then, you know, my B cast. He's the real pain in the butt, but you know.
I have like spreadsheets upon spreadsheets. You don't even want to know.
I can't even imagine.
It's a lot. Before I even start plotting, I like sit there and I like pre-outline every character's storyline, and then like I adjust as necessary as they change the story. And I can't even keep track of all of my notes.
And I just laugh.
So Felix, what about you? What did your main character want to be?
Well, so I've only got 2 main characters, which I thought was a lot for some of the other submissions, but clearly not.
It would be a lot for me, so.
Or I should say 2 POV characters, but I'll choose Piran because he's my favorite. He wanted to be a healer, or he was a healer, but he wanted to go out and see the world. He wanted to go around having adventures, which he sort of did get, but not in the way he thought. But his nature as a healer obviously came in advantage across an adventure. Can't speak today.
Oh, I thought you were doing like misadventure, but he thinks it's an adventure.
Well,
so.
It is a bit of a misadventure. Does not go at all how he planned.
Yes, and Michelle, so you sitting over there with the other 6 POV book.
Well, it's an easy answer still. The 4 adults are all criminals, so really they just wanted to be normal, and then they get enlisted by the evil queen, and ultimately they just want to be good, but they don't know how to do that, balancing, oh, you know, I want to just stay alive also. But then for the 2 kids, they really just want to be kids. And then Sonder, who is the main character, he doesn't want to follow in his father's footsteps, but they keep pushing him to. And so he just wants a quiet life. And he can't have that.
So the opposite of what I said earlier. I want to be a villain when I grow up. They're like,
yeah,
I want to be a good
they're basically forced to be the villains, and it's like I said, it's very heavy in the character department. So
yes. Hey, read, love, listen. Good to see you on. Yeah, so a lot of really good dreams. And if you want to see what happens with these characters in these books and if any of them get their dream, you're going to have to read them. The links to everybody's books are in the description box too. Bethany, in my book, the main character is already a queen. And she didn't really have a choice. Her kingdom passes the line down by the women, and her mother passed when she was 10. So she has been a queen since she was 10 years old. So I don't think she's ever expected anything else of herself. But I think she wishes she could live up to the legacy that was left to her. So I think that gives her some big shoes to fill. But yeah. So 5 months of waiting to see who's cut, who's kept, what's going on in the next round. What do you guys have going writing-wise, publishing-wise over the next 5 months?
I'm just looking to take down the rest of the authors in my blog group. So the planning is underway.
Welcome, everybody. Meet your competition.
Oh, God. My days are numbered.
Now I know East Texas. Got it.
well, I just came from archery practice, so careful.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Save you for later.
You know, it's funny. This is the first panel that's been even remotely competitive. All of our panels have been like, the community's so amazing, and this is so great.
And James is out here for blood.
No, I'm.
Andrew said on her panel, which was one of the first ones we did, that it was like that last year until the semifinalists were announced, and then it was like in the Hunger Games where they're all holding hands, and then they get out there on the field, and it's like there's no more hand holding. It's done.
Right.
We're in the cozy, comfy phase, and then they're going to announce the next people. But yeah, what else is going on in the reading, publishing, writing, SPFBO fun?
Michelle, I'm actually going to be in Texas this coming weekend. I'm going to be in Austin for Pflugerville Pride.
Oh,
so
fun. Very cool.
Yeah, it'll be my first like author event, like in person. So that'll be cool. So there's like a panel. I'll be at like a booth. I'll be trying to survive the 95-degree heat. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, that's like 4 hours from me. Maybe I'll go visit.
It should be cool. I think it's I'll be there Saturday afternoon. I don't know how long the overall Pflugerville Pride event is, but yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, might as well.
I mean, if you're up for a 4-hour drive, that is a lot. But
Texas is weird, and I'm actually from Colorado, so I'm not even down here because I live down here. I'm working down here, and so
Where
yeah.
in Colorado, Michelle?
What's that?
Where in Colorado?
I grew up in the Denver area,
Okay.
so halfway between Boulder and Denver.
I was in Colorado Springs for a little over a decade. We're in Oregon right now, but we're actually most likely going to be relocating back to Colorado this fall in the Denver area. So
So you're going to possibly be prepping for a move this summer, Bethany.
yeah, I'm working on book 2, prepping for a move. Yeah.
That's a
with
lot.
the baby.
With the baby.
Baby and a toddler and 3 pets.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's really fine.
If your newborn's like mine, you'll have all the time in the world to write while they won't let you sleep.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what sleep is.
I got 3 books written at night while I was holding my last son.
Wow. Oh
Yes,
my gosh.
okay. I'm
That's so
awake.
impressive.
We're going to write now.
It almost like kicks you into gear to write more, though. Like, I think I've made more writing progress since both my kids were born, because it was like a mortality like check. I was just like, oh, I've got to like, I need to do this. I need to make this happen now. Make the dream real. So.
Wow.
Yes. Felix, what about the next 5 months for you?
Well, I'm working on the sequel and then doing some web serials in the writing realm. Yeah.
Awesome.
Not much planned, but I got some wacky ideas that I want to experiment with. So
Nice.
That's really exciting. Yeah, if you're watching and you'd like to follow these authors on any of their cool adventures, and James on his very
I won't be documenting it.
You will be documenting. Well, you can follow James's writing then. I've got all their links in the description box. See, so I got an idea yesterday from Kareem saying that he was watching like refresh on Twitter, and I was like, you need to do a weekly recap news report style for like this week in SPFBO News. But now I've got James over there who's giving like Hunger Games commentary.
Yeah. You got to make it interesting. No, I'm finishing up book 2, so I'm going through edits right now. My copy editor has book 2 right now, so it'll be coming out in the fall. And while that's going on, I'm starting up work on book 3. So No Heart for a Thief is part of a trilogy, and so hopefully, if all goes well, it will all be out by the end of 2024. And so that's what I'm working on. I think it sounds like a lot of us have kids, so I'm writing when everybody's asleep. So I also have a infant and a toddler. Well, I guess 1.5 might not be an infant anymore. When's toddlerhood begin?
When they
I don't
start
know.
toddling. When they're toddling around.
Yeah.
Yes, sounds like we're all working on book 2. So that's what I'm doing. Right now it's in developmental phases, which is fun. And then I have a small like anthology piece that I'm working on, but for whatever reason, Word decides to always delete that work.
Oh
So
no.
that's it's the worst. It's happened twice now with this piece, and I'm just like,
my God.
I'm really excited about it. But yeah, so that's the next 5 months. We'll be editing and fighting Word.
Yeah. So I'm an
Around the
editor for
country.
day job, and June is busy. And I know people who watch the last panels. They know this has been reading chaos, but fun chaos. So I will not be online checking many socials in June. And when I emerge in mid-July, I've really got to finish getting out the 3rd book of the Lord's Gambit series, which is a separate series from the one I submitted to SPFBO, because it's a standalone that I submitted to SPFBO. And I lost my whole file. It was corrupted for the 3rd volume. God. So it was rapid releasing. No. Book 1 came out in January, book 2 came out in February, book 3, when I went to upload it into Amazon, I was like, your file's corrupted. So I'm like, oh, that's weird. Pulled it from the cloud. Your file's corrupted. Pulled out my old hard drive. Your file's corrupted. So it's like, now I've got to rewrite the whole book. So
Oh my God.
I would cry.
I would cry. I would give up. I would eat a whole cake.
Well, to be fair, it's like I had
need
just
a
finished book 2.
a week
I was going straight into playing God
We're
of
gonna
War
get
for
back
way
on the
too many
horse here.
hours.
Uh-oh. Did I lose you guys?
No, we're here.
I hope I didn't
It looks
lose
like
you
you
guys.
froze and now you're catching up.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for being here. I don't want to cut anybody off, but I also don't know how long my internet's going to hold here. So best of luck on your books in SPFBO. I'm super excited to see what happens with everybody's books.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It was
thanks
great
for
to
having
meet
Fun
you
us.
all.
chatting with all y'all.
Yes. Oh, they say I can't find any of y'all on Twitter, so except James and Bethany. Maybe if there is a Twitter, they can come back and drop it in the comments on the video because the replay will stay up for people.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you'd like to catch more panels, I will be doing more panels next weekend and then a huge blitz at the end of June. The summer blitz is not just for SPFBO. This will actually be my first year having SPFBO authors highlighted in my blitz. So that's a 3-day long, all day long, authors doing live reads, authors doing panel interviews by genre of fantasy and sci-fi. So tune in for that and subscribe for notifications when we go live. Thanks, everybody.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good one.
Bye.